Welcome to Foundation Repair Marketing Secrets, the podcast that's rocking the foundation repair industry. Discover how to boost your leads, raise your profits, and lift your digital presence. Together, let's dig deep and transform your foundation repair business.
Cool. All right, guys, welcome to the podcast. We have a super awesome, really cool hat-wearing podcast guest today. We got Joey. Joey, welcome to the pod.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So where in the world are you and what are you doing today?
We're basically right outside of Oklahoma City in Choctaw, Oklahoma. We did 14 exterior piers and now we're foaming the interior slab. Basically
Wow.
filling the voids, trying to get about a half inch of lift. Whether it'll do it or not, we're stabilizing the slab to basically replace any lost fill dirt from our lift,
Wow.
because there'll be a void created, and there already was. He had a shower pan leak, and typically when you have interior slab problems, it's drainage, leak, high pressure line, something caused it. So
That makes
that's
sense.
where the foam comes in. Oklahoma kind of builds a different type, like Texas. A lot of the places I've been before have monolithic style, which slab and footer are all in one. Here, the slab is what's called a floating slab, more or less like a garage. So,
Okay.
you know, they don't have the ability to hold the pressure like a standard pier would. They'll crack. You just can't get the drive on them like you could the outside of the house with all the weight. You know, the concrete being so much more reinforced out there. So inside, they'd come up with the foam. It kind of hit the ground running pretty hard in the last 10 years. And it simplifies it. You know, it's easier to go in and drill a hole. Now you've got to watch out for duct work, which is a problem in Oklahoma. Obviously, all your water lines, everything's in the slab somewhere, you know, that you're guessing.
Got
Kind of follow it out and hope you guessed right when you go to drill, and sometimes you don't. It doesn't always work in your favor, let me tell you.
Is there a percentage there, Joey, that you see, like, 90% of the time it's the right guess?
Yeah,
10%
about
it's
90.
no. Okay, so
About
that's pretty
90.
good.
Yeah, it is. Now you'll it's always a Friday afternoon type deal. You know, it's that anywhere from 1 to 10% where you're done with the hard part. You're on to
Right.
the easy part. You drill in and either air blows back in your face or water starts shooting out of the ground.
And what happens then? What do you guys got to do when that's the case?
Really, in our clause, it says that, you know, it's pretty common that happens. Now, usually I'll kill the water. We'll find the problem. I'll
Okay.
open it up because I have the means of it right then, right there. I'm the
Right.
type, I can't leave the customer hanging.
Sure.
You know, it happens on a Friday afternoon. What's the plumber going to do? They're either going to charge you a huge premium to come out. And
Right.
I mean, a slab leak in general is huge expense anyways. So if we hit a line and I can go in, cap it off, leave it open, I always want the pros to come repair it, but I'll open it to where they can get to it, and or I can cap it, maybe shut that bathroom off, but they've got water for the weekend. I'm going to take care of them somehow.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
huge. Because some people don't. They'll point fingers and they'll, it's
You
crazy
know,
out there.
and you're absolutely right. There's a lot of them that will, but that's why, man, honestly, I almost don't have to advertise anymore. In a market where there's hundreds of us, you have to have a presence. But if you
Right.
do the right thing, man, it all comes right back to you.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, that's the way to do it. So I guess, how have you guys built the business? How has it grown?
My wife has a marketing company and has kind of done, you know, all the writing codes, building websites over about the last 15, 16 years. So I've been
Okay.
very fortunate. But, you know, usually Google is usually your number one. You know, you can probably find me on some of the others, some Yelp, some of the other places. Um, if you ask probably 75% of the people, Google.
Mm.
You've got 25, maybe BBB. Okay, let's say 74 Google, about 25 BBB, and then you've got another 1% that might have seen your truck, might have
Okay.
looked somewhere else. But pretty much everybody is a Google search nowadays.
Crazy.
And even with the BBB type stuff, they've usually looked at Google. Make sure you have a presence, years in business, and then most websites will say I'm A+ rated or whatever. So they'll do a little bit of second checking and asking around.
Right.
Oklahoma's so small.
Yeah, I get that. That's interesting. Okay, and I assume the SEO stuff, doing ads, are you guys doing the whole spectrum of online or just kind of being there and updating?
Being there, updating, kind of keeping relevant with, obviously your reviews, and she'll add content, and she's a lot more savvy on that, man. So if I sound like I don't know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about, it's because I don't know what I'm talking about.
yeah, you got an expert in your corner. You're the expert in your
Yep.
corner. She's the expert in your corner. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, but I know that with pay-per-click, I probably haven't in the last 3 or 4 months. I've been pretty blessed.
That's
I really
amazing.
have. In a tough market, business has been pretty good. I can't complain.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So maybe you could tell us with your competitors how you guys keep that edge on top of them, doing really good service,
You
doing
know,
really well on the internet. You know.
that's one thing. You've got to set yourself above everybody else, especially with all of the big players. Because there's some
Mm,
that advertise 120 years in business. I don't even know what it looked like back then.
right.
They were peering, I guess, wide open them's house. I don't know, because I can't imagine anything back in those days. But some of the big ones have been around a long time, and they have a good name. They do a good service too. Um,
Right.
you know, the name alone helps me a lot. A lot of my customers are military,
Okay.
veterans, stuff like that. It seems like, um, especially in this day and age, the
Mm,
Patriot name kind of, I don't know, it seems to help. Now I do have a really good. I'm like, if you look, I'm second or third there on the maps, just in the organics. So my wife does a great job.
that's
Just
awesome.
small things, man. Giving out hats, shaking hands. I make
Mm,
myself. I'm readily available too.
right.
So if they call, they usually get me,
That's
or
cool.
they'll get a call back from me. And I'm on the
Okay.
jobs a lot, so I shake the neighbor's hand. I'm just pretty involved. We
Right.
are. We're
Yeah,
really
you're not high
involved.
and mighty.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm one of those ones that I want to know what the guys are doing. I want to know it's done right, but I also want to be part of it. So I am.
Mm, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. Definitely
It
makes a
does.
difference. I mean, the people we talk to, as our guests or even as our clients and things like that, the difference is that they care. They're available. They're not trying to just delegate and outsource everything or grow too
Yeah.
quickly, because that's something you can certainly get over your skis sometimes.
Right.
Any wisdom you would think of that before you started the business? What are like three things you would tell yourself back in the day to maybe help make that skill set go quicker, make the success happen faster? Not steroids per se, but are there some things that come to mind that you go, man, I wish I would have known that earlier?
You always look back on everything and wish you could do it over, but yeah, I really can't think of a whole lot other than I wish I would have had a lot bigger bank account to start out, because I always thought
Mm,
that it was going to be real easy to go out and just make a lot of money. I took for
mm,
granted the hard work that business owners put into their business. Um, I started it basically, you know, the wing and a prayer, my man. Just I wish I would have been a little bit. Looking back on it now, I was a little harder on people I'd worked for in the past. I thought they had it a lot easier. And,
okay.
I can certainly look back on times where I could have appreciated what that guy did to do what he had and what he had to go through. Because I know the growing pains now. I I think I started in 19, so I didn't advertise much back then because I'd had several people that the flipping market was really good back then.
Sure.
Probably was out there too. A lot of
Oh yeah.
people were just wanted to be like everybody on TV. They're going to go buy a house, flip it. And I'd met 4 or 5 of them. Man, and they kept me busy year round. And then
Wow.
22 hit, and then 23 hit. And I really wasn't prepared for, that it just kind of come crashing down quick. The market kind of went down. The housing market set still. I survived, but
Mm.
I could have saved a lot more money when I'd worked for someone else, got a lot more tools, and just been a lot more better prepared for when I took that leap. I made it past it, but man, it was a lot of praying, a lot of asking the good Lord, man, what am I going to do here?
I was just about to ask. Actually, I can't even say it. Actually, ask you. Yeah, I mean, what you learned from that tough time. So first off, to always have more money, liquid or credit available, that kind of thing, because you never know. We all think we're
No,
smart, but I don't care if you went to Harvard or MIT or wherever, to school of hard knocks. Even there, you don't always know, because those hard knocks, maybe you've done them for 40 years, maybe you've done them for 2 years. Could be hard knocks regardless. But okay, so always keep some money, have credit available, liquidity, anything, your prayers, eat your vitamins, that kind of thing. Any of the other kind of brass tacks that you learned from that is just keep on networking, keep your head up, try to feed your team as well as you can, that kind of thing. How do you get through those tough times?
man, a lot of it. We're a Christian business, so I just give it to the Lord, man. He always seems to provide for me. Because I am that way. I'll pay my guys when I can't even pay myself always, because I've got a
Sure.
great team around me. I really do.
Mm,
And that's so important in anything you do. Um, you just basically you keep your guys happy at all costs, and they've got your back. If you've got the right team. Now, if you don't, you've
right.
got to move on past. There's been times where I've hung on to people thinking, all right, he'll come around, he'll
Hoping.
be good. Yeah,
Right.
hoping exactly. So if it's not there, my advice to anybody would be just move on.
Mm,
Don't expect the guys to do anything that you can't do yourself or won't do. Um,
mm,
always be willing to step in. If you're out there selling it as a company, you should be able to step in at any time if anybody leaves you and keep on going. And a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of owners don't.
right.
They want to sit back, and I get it. I understand. There's times I'd rather be on the golf course,
Right. Yeah, and
but
you
I
got to
think,
earn that.
yeah, I think so too. I think it's important to be here with the guys. There's times where being the owner, I can leave. There's a lot of advantages.
Mm,
Where back in the day when I worked for people, I missed the kids, whatever dance, football games, stuff like that. Now I get to go really if I want to.
right. And it's funny because that's actually one of the ironic things where people say you don't get to do those as the
Yeah,
owner. So like as the employee, you're okay. That's kind of a funny
I
switch of
was
the
always,
events.
and even as the employee, I was always one of the top guys. So I kind of
Right.
ran it. Now, those guys are hard to find.
Sure.
Um, because most of your business owners were that guy at some time. They,
Makes
you know,
sense.
they were upper management or general manager of something, because you've got to get to that point to where you can basically, if you can't run someone else's business, you're never going to be able to run your own,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
It's always funny the slacker mindset where people go, oh yeah, it seems so easy. And it's like, wait, you don't even handle your own thing, and you can't even be an entrepreneur. How are you going to be an entrepreneur?
Right. That's a perfect point right there. Because it is. But, I used to just stress about money, stress about my money. It'd keep me up at night. When I finally got the mindset, my wife would always push it on me. The Lord will
Hmm.
take care of you. And
Mm,
I would be the type to be like, well, how is the Lord just going to throw jobs at me?
right.
If I sit back. But once I finally got past that point and just got to where I was comfortable, it does. It seems like everything just kind of falls together, comes at you. I don't really worry
Mm.
about it anymore. Now there's times where I'm like, well, you know, all right, what are we doing here? But it does. It always falls into place.
That's amazing. What's the difference between when you started the business and the scaling? Now you have so many mouths to feed, equipment, things like that. How have you leveled up from when you started to where you are now? Because some people think, the golf course comes right around, getting the first few jobs, and the golf course,
Man,
maybe, but the odds are not in your favor. You're
yeah,
scaling up all the time.
I still don't know when that golf course comes because, I've grown a lot spiritually. So I've watched the money, the bank account rise, the extra trucks come, stuff like that. But yeah, as far as when the golf course comes, I don't know. I still don't see that in my future yet. Um, and I guess it's just because I'm so passionate. I like what I do. Um,
Yeah.
I'm in there usually explaining to customers, "Hey, come look at this. This is what we got." I'm doing that right now. I had customer. He's a veteran, and he was over my shoulder when you called. I was like, "Oh
Oh,
man, I'm
wow.
supposed to be on there right now." Okay, but we were foaming, so it was time to back off and let it harden, lift, expand. Come
Mm.
jump on the podcast, visit with you. It's perfect timing.
Yeah, it is perfect. And it's poly that you guys are shooting, is
Yeah,
that right?
it is.
Okay.
It's the
Awesome.
two-part poly. Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, yeah, do you have any wisdom that you could share? Of course, all of this has been really awesome, but any wisdom to share with maybe team members or owners that maybe they just missed the mark or maybe you've learned the hard way?
Really, if you put my advice would be, I'm a Christian, so put God first. Work hard. Don't really expect it's not going to come easy. I'll give you that. My hat goes off
Sure.
to anybody that wants to try this. You know, if if you know you're going to do it and you have someone that's supporting of you, put back money, put back tools. If you know you need the stuff, start setting back for it.
Mm,
Applying for your business type credit. Just you need to have some sort of nest egg, a rainy day type fund, because it's going to be tough. You might come out with 10 jobs and then you
right.
might go 6 months and the phone might not ring because the
Mm,
companies that are number one, number two, number three on Google on your sponsor, they pay for those. See, I took it for granted what 50 cents a click adds up to, how quick. I didn't realize that.
uh,
Um, I start to get my Google bill, and I guess I thought websites were free. I guess I thought
right.
all that hosting. So, just do a lot of research. It will happen. You need to be set up for at least a couple of years. Everybody says if you make it past that first year, you've got it. I want to say it's about 2, because the first you're just kind of really figuring out what's going on, who you got, how you're going to make it. Um, be set up for a couple of years. Everything's got to be right in your favor. If
Mm,
if you're a partier and stuff like that, luckily I got that out of my system when I was young because I would have never made it. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
I still like to go out and have fun, and we do certain things now. But back in the day, your maturity level has to be there. Um, it helps to have someone in your corner, like my wife, that knows what
Mm,
she's doing, because that's where I see so many businesses fail, is they don't realize the cost associated with getting, the phone to ring. It's
right.
probably my most expensive outside of my employees,
Mm,
especially to get going. Now it's not so bad
right.
because I've stomached it. I have a little bit of referral, repeat. But man, when you first start, you're all excited and then you're ready to go. You're like, oh yeah, where's that job come from? How does this phone start ringing? Um, come up with some kind of little brand, some kind of niche. Go around and shake hands. Like me, everybody I know that's in construction has one of these hats on.
Right.
Just cheesy little things that Keeps your name out there relevant. And then you've got to be in a good market. Oklahoma, I don't know if it's like probably the number one foundation repair place in the world. It's one of them with the
It's
clay
high
extent.
up there.
It
Oh
is.
yeah, it's very high up there.
It is, and you've got to have a specialty type deal because everybody's a painter. Everybody, I paint. That was my first gig when I was 15. I decided I was going to go be a painter and be rich. Well, that didn't work out. I've done a little bit of everything. I was going to be a car dealer. That's, I've done it all.
Wow,
But,
that's cool. That's really
if you
cool.
can get some knowledge in what you're wanting to do and work for somebody and they're willing to let you work for them, that's where I was fortunate. They knew I was going to go on my own.
Oh, did
But,
they? Okay.
yeah, and I tried to be such a good employee that they didn't want me to leave. We're still friends to this day. We help each other out.
Okay.
And I think just sucking up as much knowledge as you can from the old guys, the people that's done it for 20 years. A lot of the younger guys don't want to listen to that old guy. What we call the whiskers. The guy with the whiskers has been in business a long time. Yep. They'll
There's a
teach you a
reason
lot.
why.
Yep, it is. They're hard on you. They are. But looking back, there's a lot of what we do that I'm like, man, they've told me that a million times, and I told them they were crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's so funny. Like the tenure's literally there.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they got the whiskers because they don't have time to shave them.
That's it.
or nor do they care about other people's opinions. They're going to do what they need to do to get things handled. That's funny. I give you a lot of credit, and I think something that's ringing true here is that it's okay to be a team member. I think a lot of people, younger, middle age, older, etc., they think, man, the boss has the nice truck. He also has a bunch of other trucks that are the work fleet. They got the office, they got the secretary, they got all these people on pay. It must just be simple. I see all these calls come through, all these emails. I'm always on a work site. It just must be so simple. But the secret answer is, I think, if I were to redo any parts of my career, just doing it under someone else's dollar, yeah, maybe you're only making a dime under their dollar, but do that until that dime becomes 50 cents, becomes 75 cents. And yeah, I mean, you may not be able to ever make anywhere near what you want to be making underneath someone else. But if you stick at it for a few years, you make yourself, irreplaceable. Then I think that's when you're in a better spot. Especially, you mentioned bankroll, you're packing away some bankroll. That's when you're in a really healthy spot to say, hey, I could prove it to myself I'm successful internally. I know most of the processes and operations and behind the scenes, that I know that this is not as easy as someone may think if they've only been here for a week. And then applying that wisdom out on your own if you deem it worthy. Because some people, really business to me, it's not worth anything unless you have a profit to show, unless you're able to delegate it, and unless you want to sell it, maybe. I mean, for me, I know how tough business can be. I don't want to enslave myself to a monster for 40 years. So I got to be able to make profit. We got to be able to delegate. And I mean, I don't know. Everyone's got a different opinion, but maybe one day you sell the thing, catch some breathing room, really be able to focus on true life with financial prosperity. And then maybe you just start the same thing over again, 2 years after your non-compete or something. But now you got that super bankroll.
Yep.
And it, this stuff in and out. You were so successful that you were able to sell it. And I think a lot of people, they may even miss that mark, that they think, hey, I'll sell a business. It's like, well, you got to have something you could sell that's not a headache many a times to yourself or to that upcoming buyer, so you got to have a successful thing typically to be able to sell it for anything worthwhile. Is that something you'd ever do down the road? Is there?
I've talked about that 100 times. I'd love to build something big. That I'd love to see the Petree OKC sign everywhere, and let somebody younger come get this thing and run it.
Right.
Yeah, I would, because the older you get, just like you said, you want to sit back. Everybody has that dream of retiring. you and the wife going and doing something, the kids being successful at what they do.
Right.
I'm right there with you. It would have to be the right circumstance, but yeah, it'd be nice to see something big you built sold and someone
Mm.
else out there running it, running good with it. Yeah, that's kind of a long-term goal there, is let a younger cat take it over eventually. I would even help out some and consult or
Sure.
something like that with them, but it would have to just all fall in line perfect. But yeah, I would definitely if it all played out right. The
That's
right
cool.
person
Some
come
people
along.
say no.
Yeah, no, I would. The right person come along and had the same type goals. Because really all you have to do in business, especially in like what I do, is if you take care of the customer first and worry about the money second, it
Right.
all starts, it all comes together.
Mm.
It really does. Because I'll hear so many people say that they couldn't get paid or this. I've never had one not pay me, ever.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
I've had them slow
fascinating.
pay and something come up, but call me, we'll figure it out. That's all we got to do. But I've
Mm.
never had a customer burn me,
Really? That's amazing.
and it
Okay.
is. And
And
I
and you
probably
think that's
hear
because you're so close. You're close to the thing. It's not just a big behemoth company with no face.
it is, and you get a lot of that. They're like, I would rather go with a smaller company. Now they want one that's going to be around tomorrow. Absolutely,
Right.
because warranty's everything in this.
Mm.
But I hear it a lot. If they've got the Dallas Cowboys in the background, I can't afford them. And I'm like, well, yes and no. I understand that. There's a reason why they have done something right for so long that they can afford that.
Mm.
So, I'm not taking that away from those guys. But
Right.
at the same time, I'm the same way. Even when I Google search, I don't know. I never go to the top. I'm usually second, third. I don't know why.
Okay.
I guess my eyes just start there. I don't know what the problem is.
That is funny. Yeah, I mean, there are some big dogs out there that are just no matter your wife doing great work for you, they're just throwing money at this stuff, and
Yeah.
they've earned the right to be able to do that, of course. It's not like
Yeah.
the money just appeared because they didn't add value. They must have add value consistently to some people. Not saying they always do perfect work, but when you're doing a lot of jobs too, stuff comes up,
You're
it's
right.
how you
Yeah.
respond to it.
That's it, man.
That's interesting. Okay. Well, cool. Do you have anything else to share? Otherwise, we'll certainly plug you, let you tell us who should reach out to you and how to. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
No, not right now. Just remember Patriot Foundation Repair OKC, Joey Petree. We'll do whatever we can. It's been great, man. Really. I don't have anything.
Okay. Any
Kind
good
of,
phone number, website you want to share with the audience in case they need you?
yeah, absolutely. Patriot Foundation Repair OKC.com. And also I basically own the domains OKC and Oklahoma City Foundation Repair.com. So,
Okay.
um, BBB, Better Business Bureau, that usually will give you, because they kind of give you the chance to go in and clean it up, but it shows if they've had complaints, stuff like that,
Right.
longevity. There's certain little things. Hang on a second, though. I'm going to put something you can't really see, but,
Yeah, that's cool. No, it looks good.
you know, and,
Nice.
and, um, you call anytime at 405-260-8600, and it goes directly to me. There's
Okay.
times where I have the answering service pick it up, but if I'm available, I take them.
That's awesome.
And if I
Cool.
can't pick up, it goes straight to someone answers the phone.
Right. Yeah, it's not going not going to a robot.
No, it usually
That's
comes to
awesome.
me, and if I'm busy, the call service will get it. So that way I at least have the opportunity to call you back. But for the most part, I'm going to be on the other end of the line.
Cool. All right. Well, Joey, we're going to hang out on the line, but otherwise, thank you guys for listening to another podcast, Foundation Repair Success Secrets. Thank you, Joey, so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All righty. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us today for another revealing episode of Foundation Repair Marketing Secrets. Don't forget to subscribe so you can keep discovering the tools, tactics, and techniques to ensure your online presence is as solid as the foundations you repair. Keep digging deep, and we'll see you in the next episode.